I have this fantasy of another girl in my head who is like energetic and happy and beautiful, and she doesn't exist anymore. And if at all, and I so badly want to be that girl.
I feel the need to talk to someone who understands life after a terrible pain or a series of pains. Someone who carries old wounds and open wounds, who is hurt by what the rest of the world sees as something easy and simple. But first, let me start at the ending of our beginning so you can see the full circle. As much as I hate the shaking, wrenching feeling of loneliness, it makes me love even greater. And I have such a deep appreciation for the littlest of details now, such as cups of warm tea, the smell of cinnamon, library books, the cool air before the rain, fairy lights, a glass of wine, a new candle, seconds when you feel at peace and unstoppable all at once. There is no groundbreaking way to say what I'm about to. It is not eloquent nor beautiful like fairy lights. It is only a tangent of sadness, of which I can only put it bluntly. The simple things hurt in recovery. Things uncomplicated to most people that my brain seemingly complicates out of previous pain, out of the fear of going through the trauma again, this deep hidden weight in your chest that causes your eyes to water if given too much attention. Sometimes walking doesn't help, or cold water, or solitude, or distraction. The therapy scratches the surface of it. It just sits there, and for a second you wonder if your heart will forever hold this weight. As if it's a form of damnation, or a permanent appendage that is as useless as one's appendix, but there nevertheless.
Hi guys, I racked my brain on how to showcase this conversation in a visually enticing way, and I deleted so much footage and threw out everything I did because I just want to be raw. And this is me just sitting on my couch with pajamas on to discuss something that is very vulnerable, and showing it any other way just felt like a disservice to make a connection with people who will watch this or potentially watch this in the future. And that's why I'm just chilling out here, and we're just gonna have a quick conversation. And as you saw in the beginning, this video is about trauma, and I don't want to sit here and act like a trauma expert, but I am going to sit here as someone who's gone through their own form of trauma in life and now has heavy trauma responses that are frequent, that impact my day-to-day living, that provide highs and lows that I have to monitor, that's beyond the scope of just one day or a week. It is a day-to-day lifestyle of adjustments I've had to make to accommodate my trauma response, as well as actively working with different forms of therapy to work through things that I've avoided for so long, mostly because I didn't know they existed. And through change, we find new triggers and new things that bring us trauma, and it makes the mundane so hard. And I was a girl that people looked at as someone who worked a lot, and part of that, besides workaholism, which I've talked about briefly before, is I need to be stimulated to feel like I have purpose and value, and to match the stimulation happening in my mind constantly from trauma response. And when the noise dies down and life gets quiet, I feel worthless and unworthy and uninteresting, and so it just makes the simple things feel impossible. I am trying to not go back to that girl who leaned into work as a way of false therapy to prevent attacking real problems and working with professionals to get through and cut through the hard stuff. So I made the hard decision to apply for work leave, medical leave. And for those of you unfamiliar, in a salary-based job or a large company job, it's sometimes a benefit. It's a blessing, first of all. It's a privilege, and it's something you may have access to obtain if you are also in a state of physical or mental well-being crisis. And I've noticed that my panic attacks have gotten worse. I, this weekend, passed out on the bathroom floor for hours from a panic attack alone at like 1 a.m. And my amazing God-sent boyfriend had to really carry me through this weekend, literally practically help me get dressed, because I was so shaken up by revisiting my trauma response for the first time in a while. And I took that as a sign for my body to say, hey, you know, you really need to pump the brakes. You really need to analyze what's causing this and take time to put this first, because last time at an old company, I attempted suicide and showed up to work 3 days later. And I kept working and working and working. And eventually I hit a block a couple months later. But I realized that I have the opportunity to not do that again, to not throw myself in work as a distraction, and to really get real with myself, work with therapists, work on implementing new things like re-exercising again, working with like a yoga person to push myself out of my comfort zone, slow down, force myself to read, to journal, to see different specialists for physical needs that might be enacting mental things such as getting blood work done, or working with a women's health specialist to check hormone levels and how my cycles are going. You do not have to settle for what your life is offering you now in terms of what you think you have to handle your trauma. You do not have to sit here and get worse, because I did that, and guess what? It gets you nowhere. You have the opportunity to check all of your resources and put yourself first. There is always a way, and maybe I'm speaking out of opportunistic optimism right now, but like, I did it. I did the hard path, which was actually what appeared to be easier. It was to stay quiet and to not put myself first in my mental health. And I sat in front of my HR person trying not to cry, because it was actually my year anniversary at a company I do really admire, and I felt ashamed. And the whole weekend I just felt like crying at the drop of a dime, because I felt unworthy, and like as if I was taking advantage of a system, or because it's a mental health problem and it's OCD and it's trauma response, like that's not good enough. Medical leave should only be for surgeries or like maternity leave or a major catastrophic event. But in reality, our mental health, our minds, our well-being is so important, and that is the same as needing a surgery, or if you break a leg or anything in the physical category. Your mind guides the temple of your body. It makes you able to work and be efficient and productive, but also enjoy your life, because work is a means to an end to give you the life you want or desire for all of the moments outside of life. And if your well-being sucks mentally, you can't enjoy it. And that's what I was noticing. I would like wake up miserable and work from home, sit on my laptop, be in solitude every day, all day, and work. My job is pretty demanding. I have, again, amazing coworkers, but like hard hours sometimes, lots of ups and downs, and I couldn't handle it. And my body was telling me I couldn't handle it, and I chose not to power through. I chose to power through in a different way, and that is to take time away from work, lean into this benefit again that you might have as well, to start getting more therapists and tackling my trauma harder than ever. Because life after trauma is a new life. The old you is gone. It's it's so hard not to get enticed to look back and look at the old you pre-trauma, whether it was pre an incident that caused the trauma or your revelation of having trauma from, say, older events. For me, it was childhood, and my own mental health was dramatically impacting me. And it's so tempting to remember the days when, like, I didn't have hormone OCD, and like waking up terrified and sleeping and being afraid of falling asleep, and just the hand wringing and being afraid of church. And the scary thing about trauma is it really goes after our unworthiness the most, at least for me. I feel ashamed of who I am most days. I feel embarrassed to be in a group setting, to intimately have someone see my mental health. Ian practically had to like carry me out of the bedroom and like help me make sure that I ate, and like practically help me get dressed because I couldn't. And I have this fantasy of another girl in my head who is like energetic and happy and beautiful, and she doesn't exist anymore. And if at all, and I so badly want to be that girl. I so badly want to show up to friends' houses and families' houses and be this life of the party movie character who is just happy and bubbly, and I'm not. I'm hurting. Breathing is hard. Talking is so hard. I need to sleep like every couple of hours because my mind is exhausted and it makes my body tired. I skip church because it is so traumatizing to go to church and be in the house of God sometimes. And I look at other people's lives and they're talking about their childhood and like how amazing it was, and like their memories, and I don't have any because I really didn't have a childhood, even though my mom really tried. My mental health was so bad, I was just surviving for so many years. I don't have a favorite children's book or a childhood friend. I don't have memories of like happy sleepovers, and sometimes watching that is so hard because it makes you want it. It makes you question God's will. Like, why am I void of that part of my life that I will never get back? That I will never acquire because I can't go back. There's just so many things that my mind just is blacked out on. And it hurts so much to see others who have it, even though I'm happy for them. And I pray to God they never know what it feels like to not have something that beautiful. And that's triggering. There's so many triggers. But we have to keep trying because this is our ticket. I cannot question God's will because He is a good God. I am not intelligent enough, and I don't have the burden or the gift of understanding everything and why I had to walk that walk. And we have to fight to not compare ourselves to others and wonder what their lives are like, because our perspective is assumptuous and lame, and we don't know what they're struggling with or what their life was like and how they see their past. Despite everything, despite all hurting, I love life so much. I love the little things that are so hard for me. I love them. And God has gifted me with a support system that I never thought I'd have. And I have friends texting and people like aggressively reaching out to put themselves in my like life and reach for me. Gift, honestly. I'm still trying to heal him so much. And maybe the girl in my head, like, maybe I'll meet her halfway one day and I will be this like ray of sunshine that I imagine myself to become. Maybe I already am, and I just don't see it yet. On a side note, I am very broken, and I am very much in pain, and I have problems, and I have issues that are annoying and not great sometimes. And even in my most broken state, I still found someone who is frankly my other half, who I cannot live without, who I love more than words. God designed someone to be in my life right now who accepts my brokenness and my flaws and my many issues and my many needs, and gave me the most beautiful person that I could not have even like conjured up myself. And I have a very active imagination as an art person here, and that alone is God's grace. So if you think that you will never be loved, because I used to think that for years, I'm sitting here as proof that there is someone out there, whether they are a future sister-in-law, a significant other, a old grandparent from another friend who you'll meet that completes you in some way, that they're out there and God is waiting to place them exactly when they are needed beyond your own understanding. And you are worthy of being loved regardless of your trauma, and it's possible, and life will become so amazing, and you're gonna have such an appreciation for the depth of my appreciation is so deep because of the trauma, and my wanting to serve and give and like be alive for this person is so deep because of the trauma. And that is so amazing that God has taken the broken pieces of myself and turned them into fragments of beauty and grace. And even though sometimes the desire is strong, I wouldn't go back and change anything. There will be a day when you can look back and say the same thing. I promise. God is so amazing. So, here's to the little things and the people in your life who are here now and who are going to come and pull you out of this and be there for you. I am here for you. Truly, I want to be your friend. I want to help you through this. I want to walk beside you, because I'm not an expert. I'm just another girl from a small town who just has a camera and a little bit of courage. Please hang around. Please say hi. And got real there, guys. I'll see you later.